folks. So thanks for joining me. In an hour's time, we're going to be looking at an issue that is not new in the Caribbean. One of the oldest forms of the family in the Caribbean is a single parent family. Sometimes it's a single mother, sometimes it's a single father. More often than not, it's a single mother. You find that there are smaller or lesser, let me say lesser numbers of single fathers. This week, there was a comment, a post that would have been put up. And the post, in my opinion, at first was nothing that I paid attention to, certainly, until it started to come across my timeline a lot because of my friends. And I read it, I listened to it, I read it. I just thought to myself, well, all right. There's a person, young, immature, doesn't quite understand what he's saying or not saying. I need to fix this properly, otherwise tech guy go book me. Doesn't necessarily understand what he's saying, because what you find is when people are young and they have plenty experience with life, they will say all kind of stupid things. So at first I was like, okay, in immature, toxic comments, I left it alone. Then on Wednesday night, the person had a live on Instagram and spoke to the issue. And in speaking to the issue, and there's a reason I'm going into all of this, because I can't go into all of this context in the actual live. The actual live this evening is going to have 4 women talking about their experiences. But I wanted earlier to hear this young man talk about why he said the things he said in that post, so that you will understand what we're going to be talking about at 6 o'clock. So just give me 2 minutes of your time, right? So here we go.
Personal. I mean, is it personal? I mean, tell us about it. I mean, what inspired you to write it?
Right. So it is.
So the guy in the black shirt with the thing around his neck, that's Sion Faria. And Sion Faria is the person who put up this incendiary post about single mothers, basically saying that single mothers, women who have children that's single, just be up in his inbox. And basically they don't have a lot of value. The child that they have is a handicap, an impediment, baggage. So I want you all to hear his explanation, his side of his story.
Personal. Let me start with that, right? So let me give a little backstory. So I was friends with these girls, and from years ago, right? They became baby mamas, right? But however, at some point in time, we did like each other, whatever the case may be. Throughout the years, girls would like her. That it happens, right? The interesting thing is that they went into some toxic relationships and with some toxic fellas, and I warned them about it. And the reason why I could warn them is because I am also one. So toxicity could identify toxicity. So I told them, I say, hey, what's something? Them fellas, and watch yourself, watch yourself. But they're young and they're in love, and they figure out the world and stuff. So I say, okay, partner, no problem. So lo and behold, now each one of them at different intervals, the same thing end up happening, right? They get pregnant, the honey come out of the moon, and then the man busts out, right? But obviously that's something I was expected in my brain now. That was something I was expected, right? Now when you're young, as I say, you're young, you will make some decisions and you will make some bad decisions. But what upset me the most was the fact that when they, after they got, put in this predicament, what would happen is that they would come back to me with all their baggage. I would say baggage and problems and all kind of thing, right? So I just did so frustrated in the sense that, these are situations what were 100% avoidable. It was 100% avoidable. So that is what upset me the most. So what they like to do is they like to come back, slowly ease their way back into your life. And what they do is weaponize the child, right? They just weaponize the child. So before you know it, you know the child. You probably know the child better than them, right? No, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that part. But what it does like to do is they try to use that to kind of emotionally manipulate you by weaponizing it, right?
So that was a clip. The entire interview was about an hour and 40 minutes long. And there are a number of things that struck me as odd about this interview. One, it was mostly men that was conducting this interview about single motherhood. The next thing is, they kept talking about his right to have an opinion or a preference. I could understand having an opinion or a preference. What I don't understand is how you then determine that some women are more valuable than other women as a result of whether they've had a child or not had a child. One of the critical things about this entire interview is that in his mind, these women that he was tracking before should not have gone with these other guys and had children and then come back to him. Another very, very, very critical thing for me is that in all of this, he's not pinpointing manipulative behavior in a person. He is associating being a single mother with toxic manipulative behavior. So throughout, he keeps talking about these girls that may or may not have performed manipulative behavior in their relationships with him, as if all single mothers are manipulative, toxic women. So I thought to myself, and I need you all to understand, this guy is 31 years old. He's not a baby. He's not a little boy. He is 31 years old. 31 years old and went to school and one of the premier schools in San Fernando. The school is well known for its prestige, right? And all you could figure out for yourself which convent in San Fernando he went to, right? So he would have made these statements. And he would have broad brushed all single mothers. And I felt, somebody on the thread is saying he's 29, not 31. But there are other persons who know him who say that the same age as him. And they say that he's 31. So I'm just going to go with, he's around that age. He's not a child. He's not a little boy. He makes a post, and the post refers to single mothers in general. Then he comes and he says at the start of his speech that he's not referring to all women. He's referring to a handful of women. And then later down, he keeps talking about and referencing single mothers in a particular way. So at 7 o'clock, we're going to come back and we are going to have a conversation with 4 single mothers. None of them were involved with him, but I felt that it was important to talk about single motherhood and single mothers and how we view and perceive single mothers and the way in which we attach value to women based on whether they've had sex before marriage, sex before a relationship with you, whoever you are, had a child before they were involved with you, whoever you are, and basically how we treat with what women can and cannot do with themselves in a relationship or with a child. So I'll see all you in an hour's time, and we're going to have a very, very, very interesting conversation about the comments that and the stigmas attached to single mothers. See you all in a bit. Bye.